You should know you're getting excellent reviews from across. What can I do for you? You weren't supposed to look. I asked you to delete it. I didn't mean for any harm to come to you. This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them. In charge of a scrap heap of a city, abandoned by the board and surviving only through the hypocrisy of our trading partners. I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else? Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less. But that's exactly what this is. The world isn't changed with guns and speeches, much as Graham and his followers would like to think, but rather with meticulous documentation.
And the dissemination of the proper ideals and information to those in the highest echelon of society.
On the contrary, I would say good documentation is for everyone. And the Bill of Liquidation/Transfer Form 52 is one of the most formidable pieces of data entry in all of Halcyon. One false stroke can invalidate the entire document.
It's true. One of the old execs gave herself a stroke trying to fill out the exemption section.
For our part, a Bill of Liquidation/Transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
What Mr. Nandi means is that we have some rather momentous information to deliver to the board. Or we will, with your help.
Help us with this final matter and we won't need to broadcast anymore. You have my word. I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch. Illegally and in secret.
Those bastards. Leave us to our perils, then come back just to reap what they can.
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board. You really think so? I admit I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are. Oh, I imagine you do. But as much as I love your can-do attitude and dangerous gravitas, Catherine handles all of our shipments. So it would be best if you could leave her in one piece. Is that how you people put it? Of course. I didn't mean to make assumptions. Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it. A foolproof plan if I ever heard one. I'll leave the execution to you. You're just as rigid as the old executive committee.
When Graham finally shut up.
Praise the architect for that.
It isn't easy keeping a town like Stellar Bay afloat, especially without the board's backing. We need that. Indeed. That's why it's imperative. If we can find proof that one of the companies on the board is also active on Monarch, that'll give me all the leverage. You have my word.
Fallbrook's on the other side of the bridge there, if you need a drink.
Trouble checking in? Or you might need directions to the amenities? If you're locked out of your cabin, a replacement key costs 50 bits. You're looking for Ms. Malin. On an errand for the boss lady? That sounds ominous, yeah. Ms. Malin won't like that a whit. She's not but just down the way. A 10 to 1 says she's either pouring drinks or skinning a sprat in the saloon. Word to the wise, Ms. Malin don't take kindly to interlopers. When I said sprat, I didn't mean the sort with whiskers and a tail. I am here to anticipate and facilitate your...
Time for a round of whist. Or a round of whiskey. Or both.
Keep walking, Rugby.
Take a gander at that mug. I ain't ever seen someone so adept looking my whole life.
Watch yourself, Captain. This guy's got eyes like a sprat set on stealing your dinner.
Oh, now, come on. All I mean is, well, rather that, you don't seem like the usual pigeons we pluck. No offense, of course, if you... Say, I'd like to do you a favor. Might I interest you in a... Oh, I enjoy it. Pure and simple, it's like this. I run our drug delivery service. Recently, I had the genius idea to cut costs in half by swapping our autoloaders. See? I know a fellow genius one. Too right you are. Only problem is my sprat carriers... As I was saying, you look more capable than most of the hoople heads around these... In return, I'll... 35%? Are you out of your gourd? If I wasn't recovering from a bout of Margellans, I wouldn't stand for this. But things are what they are, so I'll agree to it. But not 0.5% more. My sprat carriers scurry back and forth through the shipping tunnels. Any trail ought to start there. When you've got the goods, I'll be here.
Making tracks.
Want to make a run with me to Stella Bay?
Boss lady told me to take the night off.
Just got back from delivering to the house with a strange family.
The ones that always smell like raw meat and got splotches of blood on them?
Oddest thing, they started ordering cans of Borstwurst, but only if they come from the C&P factory.
Makes you wonder.
Welcome to the offices of the Greater Halcyon Insurance Group, Halcyon's premier provider of life and disaster. I'm obligated to inform you that our coverage does not extend to incidents deemed to result from negligence, criminal activity. Some people, but no one in this office, I assure you, might call it stupidity.
Obviously too common an ailment for insurance to cover.
So, what kind of insurance package can I interest you in? We're running a special on dismemberment policies. Buy one, get one half off. We're not on Monarch. For all practical and tax-related purposes, this office is an official enclave of Byzantium. Legally speaking, corporations are not allowed to operate on Monarch, but financially speaking, there are certain costs to running a business from within Byzantium's walls. So while our official address is in the city, and while our office here is technically an extension of that address, we found it more expedient to conduct our key operations here. So we can... what's the phrase? Pass savings to the consumer, of course. We prefer to think of it as chasing the savings. Turns out that not having to pay kickbacks, fines, and rent in the most expensive city in Halcyon improves our liquidity. Plus, Sublight keeps this place running remarkably well, and they sure drive business our direction. Plenty. As my boss likes to say, there's a policy for every situation and an exclusion for every policy. We've insured unusually expressive eyebrows, outrageous statements, disastrous marriages. One thing's for sure, you won't find better policy protection against sudden lunar implosions. Nicely done.
Stealing is illegal. What do you think you're doing? Suspicion levels reset.
Uh-huh. You blind, fella? Or can you not see I'm busy? Why is it every sissy pig fucker who strolls into my town expects me to smile and shout awful friendly? Welcome to... Only nugget of paradise in this entire law-forsaken land. Like a void, damn it.
Sorry to trouble you, Ms. Malin. I understand you're a terribly important figure in these parts. Perhaps you could point me to a man by the name of Reginald Cheney.
That sprat shit better not have brought trouble into my town. He's a long-term renter. Easily replaceable. Check his domicile. Whatever happens, I don't fucking care. Just keep the mess from staining my little nugget of paradise. You know, I ain't heard that one before. Suppose I'll have to work harder to show you just what makes our town shine. But first, I'll need to know what brings you, stranger. Well, I'm half listening. Might be I know something about it. Might be someone hired my crew to blind drop supplies on the Northern Bridge. Might be they sure as shit weren't pirates. Now that I consider it, I ain't heard from my delivery team in far too long. Find them for me, and I'll pay you handsomely. And I'll thank you kindly for it. Funny, you don't look like one of Lilia's. Sure sound the part, though. Good of you to finally haul your ass over here. I wired for backup weeks ago. Got something that's gonna require special extraction from Cascadia. Found it on a corpse, huh? If you killed Lilia's agent, you get to explain it to her, not me. Well, shit. I knew he'd come to a bad end one day. Still, no time for weeping and wailing. We've got a metric fuck-ton of bits worth of salvage just waiting for extraction. All right. One of my runners uncovered a cache of Alta Vitae gas, left in a lab when the board abandoned Cascadia. To extract the gas, you'll need to siphon it from the lab in Cascadia into one of your ship's fuel tanks. Totally safe. Meaning safe for me and my crew, seeing as I do like your gumption. To get to the gas, you'll need to navigate through the town, which is overrun by... The lab itself has become an infested nest, crawling with mantis. You gotta fight through or figure out something.
And will again. We ought to be taking any opportunity we get to bury those critters.
Direct and aggressive. I always did like your sensibilities. You know when to strike.
Crews are for ships. They were a family.
Close enough. Now, after you clear the manti nest and reach the storage room, all that's left is to get the gas flowing into the fuel system. The task will require someone with technical skills. Or you could force it through with a plasma overload. Don't recommend that option, though, unless you want to get dead. Dandy. Did I mention the gas is of an extremely volatile nature? Handle it with the utmost of... Once you've got our goods, take them to the groundbreaker. Lilia's fencers ought to handle it. I've marked the coordinates for you to the lab in Cascadia. On the terminal, use the passcode you got from But before you make your run, I could use a heavy helping hand regarding a local issue. For a... Good. This particular... There's a Borst factory on up the way, run by a man who calls himself the King. Clive Lundberg, and stuff. That aside, it's a business ripe for the plucking. I want it. Stars, I hope. Clive Lundberg, the self-proclaimed Borst King of Monarch. He's making the only meal to be had this side of Monarch, and I'm tired of ponying up for my dinner. I want that Borst factory. And you're the soon-to-be handsomely paid son of a bitch who's gonna get it. Kill him, run him out. I don't rightly care for the details. So long as Clive knows, hit him where it hurts. In his gut or his production lines up. If you got brass knockers, you could shoot your way through the front gate. If you don't fancy getting shot to shit, you can try asking Duncan for it. Might be another way in, assuming you're courageous enough to trek the sewers. Then I'd say you might care to poison the cysty pigs, doctor a few financial records, or throw a wrench in the canning machinery. It'll be more than good when you're finished. Maybe not for Clot. Oh, and if you don't fancy going in guns blazing or crawling through a sewer pipe, see Duncan in the dry goods and sundry building. He ought to have an employee ID in that stash of illicit goods he keeps for select clientele. May luck be with you.
Want to try me? Here's a little trick I learned in prison. That's one down. They shouldn't have stood in our way.
Hello there. A word, if I may be so bold? Well now, here I thought those mantisaurs had peacefully exited the premises. But you're a simpler explanation. Thanks for the assistance. Name's Weston. Every once in a while, I set up shop along these here roads. You find yourself in need of resupply, you come on by. Care to purchase a thing or two?
Looks like they were ambushed.
We ought to be quick about this.
Stay back. I may be wounded, but I'm still armed. How'd you get past my traps anyway? Well, you don't gotta be mean about it. What are you doing out here anyway? That feels a mite better. Wish I had something to give you, but I gnawed through my last Spratwurst an hour ago. Nice to know she cares. Catherine had us making drops for some big-shot client out here. And before you ask, I don't know who they are. Or were. The whole point of making drops in the middle of nowhere was to keep their identity and whereabouts a secret. Marauders were waiting for us. They blew the bridge and took off with the shipment. Last I saw, they were heading back up the hill. You'll see it on the right when you get out of here. If you've got the sand to go after him, I'm sure Catherine can reward you for your trouble. Me? I'm headed back to Fallbrook, just as soon as I've caught my breath.
You're an artist, Captain.
Please, you don't have to do this. Just let us down from here. The humidity is really uncomfortable.
Want me to never turn my back to you. Void, take you!
I didn't mean what I said about your outfit. It's very fashionable, I swear.
As bystanders, does this make us complicit?
They were destined to go!
That's the last of them.
As always, I am at your disposal.
You look like a man.
Thank you again for retrieving the bolt. It's every bit as complex as I'd heard. Anyway, what can I do for you? Excellent timing on your part. I worked my fingers to nubs, but I've finally completed the Bolt 52 form. I dare say it will be my second greatest achievement after the Reformations.
You're getting ahead of yourself again.
So I am. Do you have this cartridge? That's just cruel and inefficient. I'm working on a plan to reorganize the board. Slowly, peacefully, and with meticulous documentation.
You are? You could do a lot of good around here, you know. Don't go getting my hopes up.
But that's entirely the point. We've got to hope. We have got to partake once more of the full resources and opportunities of Halcyon.
What about the folks out in the wilderness? Amber Heights, Fallbrook. Will you share with them, or will you hoard those resources here?
My sincerest hope is for MSI to become a model for all of Halcyon. But we must start somewhere. But truly, I am getting ahead of myself. First, I need to submit the Bolt 52. With that data you're holding, of course. I knew there was something going on. This is exactly the proof we need. The board will have to welcome us back now. I'll transmit this data along with the completed Bolt 52 right away. After that, we'll sit back and quietly wait for the board to respond.
That means no more broadcasts from us.
Do you hear that? It's the blessed sound of radio silence, which leads me to... Yes, indeed. I am back in business. But before we get down to it, might I ask how you handled the problem? in the end?
I'd say fairly competently.
Is that so? I don't know how. The two are diametrically opposed and impossible to please. But it matters not how you fixed my problem, only that you did. I don't doubt that you are working with Phineas, but my contract specifies I relay any acquired information to the purchaser, and to the purchaser alone. However, to send the data, I will need your assistance in cycling the antenna's receiver, so I can input the needed adjustments. You make it sound so scandalous. Phineas has been in hiding for the past 35 years. He got in touch with Nyoka first, who I use as a physical go-between. The rest is history.
Now you hold on. I do not physically go between anyone but that of my choose. Oh, apologies. You meant... Right. Yes, I braved the wilderness, so you don't have to.
Precisely. I really ought to give you a raise. Don't be ridiculous. We're resetting a broadcast tower, not filing taxes. There are no errands, spreadsheets, or rituals, and it's simple, truly. I merely need you to waltz outside and throw the lever to cycle the power. I'll key in the numerical adjustments from in here. Eternal, no. What is wrong with you? Who would ever design something like that? However, you're welcome to brew me a Rizzo Insta-Coffee from the staff kitchen on your way back. Just step outside, flip the switch, depart forever. Understood? Good. Marvelous. We're in agreement.
This is why I stopped helping out around here, you know. It's always throw this lever, shoot that marauder, save my life. Just one thing after another with you.
We're almost done. Let's finish this.
Terrific. I'll be here, waiting with bated breath. Give a shout if the panel electrocutes you.
Testing 1, 2, check, check. Sweet stars. But that is a beautiful sound. Can you hear me? We are a go for broadcast. Oh, and I also dispatched Phineas his data. Impatient prick. Worse, I'm now indebted to him for it. Now I'll kindly thank you to get out of my tower. There's no need to assert your dominance. I doubt I could make you do anything you don't wish to. Look, I am well aware that at times I may have the tiniest iota of a prickly exterior, but I must admit I have grown rather fond of you. As Nyoka can attest, I do not form attachments with many. Do take care.
Why, he told us to leave without flinging insults at our persons. He really does like you, Captain. What in the void-blasted hell is that?
Black holes? Did you see that? Looks like a UDL ship. Based on the gunnery attachments, I guess it's one of the board's blockade enforcers, but don't cite me on that. Oh well, a pity for the crew, but I can't see how it affects me. Hiram? Can you hear me? Did you see that? Architect, save me from swindlers and fools. Sanjar, what are you bloody doing on my channel? Did MSI or did MSI not cease broadcasting? Yes, but... Hiram, are you there? Not without a physical contact waiver. Ah, the good captain. The truth brings us together once more. Our salvation has come crashing through the stratosphere. We need only collect its weapons. Are you mad? That's a UDL gunship. You'd probably shoot your own toes off. Par for the course, really. You should do like I did. Get out while you still retain a shred of sanity.
We could use the gunship's armaments to defend Stellar Bay, but we need its targeting module. Our message is so close to breaking free of this planet and spreading to the stars. Help us secure that module and we will save our colony.
Listen, I don't care a single whit what you do, so long as you leave me out of it. Which means, get off my void damn channel. I'm more than finished with you lot.